Hey guys, welcome to the Southside Beat here on DK Pittsburgh Sports, presented by FanDuel. My name is Chris Halicke. Joining me as always is Matt Williamson. Matt, what is going on, my friend? How's your week been?
Been real good. Get back in the swing of things after the bye, all that good stuff. How about you?
It's been good. Yeah, same for me. I've been on the South Side, I think, literally every day this week, actually. Yeah, Monday through Friday.
Really?
Yeah, so it's been busy, but it's been fun. Yeah, definitely getting back into it. And we got a football game at Acrisure Stadium on Sunday, 1:02 p.m. kickoff against the Browns. First AFC North matchup, and we're gonna dive into this for the next half hour. But Matt, I don't think people understand that this is not like they're just gonna look at, hey, it's the Browns, they're 1-4. I don't think people understand that this is not an easy matchup for the Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, just get a couple things out of the way is I think the Browns are having a much better year than most people thought, like before the season started. Everyone's like, oh, the Saints and Browns are going to be fighting for the first pick of the draft. Yeah, they're the worst teams in the league. I could give you 5, 6, 7, 8 teams that I think the Browns would be head up right now, including the Ravens and Bengals. I mean, within the division, I think this is a team you want to play least right now. They're right this second, to be honest with you. And they're doing some good things. I mean, it's very obvious what their intentions are is to play every young guy they possibly can, and starting with the quarterback. Well, not starting, but now, with the quarterback, and see where they're at. And they're not that easy to play against. It's one of the best defenses in the league.
I was bringing this up right now just so we can start going through this, because the Browns have the top ranked run defense in the league, the 4th ranked pass defense in the league, and the 2nd overall defense in the league. Now, their scoring defense is not ranked high. They're in the bottom third of the league in terms of scoring. But then when you start to really dig into the nitty gritty, you start to look at like the efficiency rankings. They are, in terms of defensively, they are 11th in EPA per play on the defensive side of the ball. Dropback EPA, I was a little bit surprised. They're 20th in dropback EPA, which I thought was pretty interesting. And then on the rush side, they are 2nd. So their rush defense is not just like typical traditional stats, like how many yards are you giving up per game, yards per carry, stuff like that. Even in terms of advanced analytics, when we talk about rushing efficiency, rush EPA, the Browns are the 2nd best in the league right now. So they are stopping the run at will pretty much. And for a team that relies on running the ball as much as the Steelers do, this is really like, this is just, it's pretty important. If the Steelers can't run the ball, are they really going to be able to rely on Aaron Rodgers to put the cape on and try to win a game for you?
Yeah, and I wonder, I mean, is it going to be a 35 attempt game by Rodgers, and manufacture a run game through short passing and things like that? And when you bring out the Anderson beefy package, are you throwing out of it as opposed to running out of it? I'm not saying you abandon the run, but maybe you just trust Rodgers to pick and choose. And I'm sure you're aware of this, but it's pretty obvious how the Browns play defense too. Like they prefer to have their base defense in there. You're going to see a ton of single high. You're going to see a lot of man. They're not afraid at all in terms of putting heavier boxes out there. I mean, they're going to make you attack their secondary and deal with their pass rush, which is why they play the run as strong as they do,
Yeah, the way Aaron Rodgers described it is that it's an 8-man presentation, but with a 2 high. Like that's what they want to try to do. Yes, they do lead the league, or I don't say lead the league, but they are among league leaders in single high coverage. Like nobody runs more cover 1 than the Browns do, which is single high. It's one safety. For those who don't understand, cover 1 is 1 safety over the top. It's man coverage below. Of course, you can have like a whole defender, different things, but it's a man coverage. And but a lot of the time, and I did think it was interesting, and when Rodgers said it, I looked it up. When he talked about like they drop into 2 high, they run cover 2 quite a bit as well. Even though they don't like lead the league or among league leaders in 2 high looks, like that includes like cover 2, cover 4, cover 6, all the different 2 high safety looks, but they run a lot of cover 2, Like, I think they're like 7th highest or 8th highest in the league
That
in
shocks me a
terms
little
of
bit.
running
Okay.
cover too. So they do, in terms of, they present a lot of 8-man boxes, which is one of the reasons why they can stop the run so well. It they will I'll say more often than not, but quite frequently drop a safety back and then they'll put a shell over the top. So it really makes it difficult, because if you're running with just a shell over the top, then the Steelers can keep doing what they're doing. They can just try to run the ball, and they can just run quick game all day long. And we'll be fine taking the underneath stuff. We'll keep leading the league in yards after catch. That's fine. We're totally fine doing that. And, the Steelers are I wouldn't say one of the most efficient, but they're borderline top 10 in terms of like EPA per play and things like that. So they are doing things well in terms of efficiency. But when you have a team that wants to try to do both, they want to be able to take the deep shots away and not let you operate out of the quick game and stop the run.
And they're pretty good at it.
Yeah, that's the thing. They run a lot of man coverage too. They're like 5th in the league in terms of how often they're running man coverage.
A lot.
Yeah, it's pretty.
And they
crazy.
just made the cornerback trade. I assume that
was interesting. Yeah.
I know exactly why they did it. We can get into it if you want, but it really doesn't affect this game that much, except for I think they got a lesser corner in the deal. It's nice Newsom's not going to play in this game because he's in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
But I assume that they're going to put the new guy in, who's also a good player.
Yeah, Tyson Campbell. Yeah.
Campbell. And play a lot of man. Just keep it simple for him. They're not, I assume he'll be thrust in the mix, and that doesn't change things. But it is odd that they did this corner swap a couple days before the game.
Yeah, I do think it's interesting too. One thing, I just looked it up, I hadn't even realized it. The Browns, for as good as their defense is, they've only taken the ball away 4 times.
Yeah, there's 3 things that stand out to me that they're not great at, and I don't have the numbers next to me, but takeaways aren't great.
Yeah, two picks and 2 fumble recoveries. That's it.
Red zone defense is terrible, and maybe that's just a small sample, but I don't know why. But the red zone defense is really, really bad. And I think it's last, to be honest.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah. And they're also not great against the short passing game. Now, these are all things that are kind of in the Steelers' wheelhouse.
In terms of red zone efficiency, that's offense. Oh no, this is defense. Never mind. The Browns, they have allowed 11 touchdowns and 14 trips.
They're really bad.
Yeah.
That could be fluky. That's only 14 trips, but still, Rodgers is good in the red zone, and they're not.
Yeah, the Steelers have been very, very good in the red zone.
Yeah.
They've been they've scored 9 touchdowns and 13 trips. Now, the problem with the Steelers is 13 trips is not very many, and they need to get into the red zone more.
Be better if it's
20. Yeah.
Right.
And because when you look at like some of the best teams in the league, the Steelers are right there in terms of how often they're turning red zone trips into touchdowns. Like they're right there with some of the better offenses, but those better offenses are in the red zone more. Like they have more red zone trips, and so that's the problem
per game. It's not just because they've had their bye, right?
No, it's bad. I mean, even heading into week 5, it was not good. So the Steelers need to do that a little bit more, but I do think it's interesting that the Browns have not been much of a takeaway machine on the defensive side of the ball. And Aaron Rodgers is like, I understand he has 3 picks this season, but traditionally, and even over the last couple of games, it's been, he had the 1 pick against the Patriots and it was a really bad throw. Yeah. But he was a lot more protective of the football against the Vikings. And if the Browns are going to allow you to complete the short stuff all day long, take advantage of it. Holy
That's
crap.
What I'm thinking he might throw 35, 40 times.
It wouldn't surprise me. And
maybe even take shots when they do get single high, like actually throw the ball down the field and max protect.
I think the one thing that they need to watch out when they do that is, yes, absolutely. You want to be able to try to stretch defenses. You have to keep defenses honest. Otherwise, they're just going to put 9-10 guys close to the line of scrimmage. But the one thing that you have to do is they have to be calculated in those. You can't just start chucking it up. And that's kind of what the Steelers did last year. Now, I know how much Arthur Smith, he called it the Uncle Rico move of just trying to throw, for those who get the Napoleon Dynamite reference, it's just, he doesn't want the quarterback just trying to throw the football a quarter mile anytime or throw a football over the mountains anytime.
That's not Rodgers' style, though. I mean,
It's
he's
not
more calculated than that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what it is. And I think that's why when you talk about the way the Steelers go about this, the way the offense goes about it, there are plays with built-in checks where if you, depending on what you see, you're going to check to this, or you're just going to go with the play that's called. Or Arthur Smith will literally just call multiple plays and then Aaron will call those plays in the huddle. Mm-hmm. And then when they get to the line of scrimmage and he sees, he'll put them in the right play. Based off what the defense is seeing. And that's the advantage you have. That's the kind of stuff that's not accounted for when Pro Football Focus grades Aaron Rodgers.
And he's the best in the league at it.
Yes.
Oh, by the way. Right.
Yeah, right. And the only because the only guy who might have been better than him at that before was Brady, and then before that was Manning, and those two aren't in the league anymore. So Rodgers is the best. But let's take a quick break, and we'll continue to dive into the Browns. Obviously, we want to talk about Dillon Gabriel, want to talk about the offensive side, and I think we'd be remiss to not talk about the number of rookies that are contributing for the Browns.
Absolutely.
Because
most of the league.
Yeah, and it's not even just that; it's the fact that these guys are like contributing right after a lot of us, including myself, were making fun of them on draft night, or at least during the draft. So
I'm going to stand by some of the. We'll get into it. Never mind.
Yeah, we'll get into it, but we still have a lot more to talk about when it comes to this matchup. But we'll talk about that right after this.
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Southside Beat here on DK Pittsburgh Sports. Chris Halicke, Matt Williamson here. So the Browns, they went with Dillon Gabriel against the Vikings. They benched Joe Flacco, and actually now they've traded Joe Flacco. He is now with the Cincinnati Bengals, and I fear for Joe Flacco's life, who cannot move and is playing behind that offensive line. We'll get into the Bengals in plenty of time, since that's who the Steelers play just a few days after they play the Browns. But they're going with Dillon Gabriel. What have you seen from Gabriel, not just in his one start and then the little bit of time he was in the game before that, but then also what about him from Oregon? Because I don't think we talked much about him, if at all, during the draft.
Probably
prep.
not.
Yeah. What have you seen from Dillon?
He's mature. He's smart. He's experienced. He didn't look overwhelmed. I think he's an efficient player, especially for someone that's new to the league. I'm not impressed at all with him in terms of traits. I mean, he's small and he has trouble seeing, like a lot of these small guys in the middle of the field can be problematic. And I'll bet everything I have that the Steelers bat down at least 1 to 3 or 4 of his passes in this game, because they're so good at it as well. He doesn't have a power arm, but he gets the ball out quick and knows where to go with it. I think there's a lot of obvious Tua comparisons, which I think are legit. I would rather have Tua. I think Gabriel's a better mover than Tua and can improvise a little bit more. But efficiency is his calling card.
Well, and that's what, when you talk about what Kevin Stefanski wants to do on offense, that's what he wants. He wants efficiency. He does not want. And when you think about when the Browns have been at their best under Stefanski, it's when they've had the quarterback that can be like that. It's not.
And Nick Chubb's in his prime.
Right. Well, yeah, that will
get us to Judkins. Judkins is really good.
Yeah, it is, because, of course, when I think about the Browns at their best under Stefanski, I think about when Baker Mayfield was their quarterback. And yes, when Nick Chubb was the running back, because obviously when you have Nick Chubb at the height of his powers, yeah, that's a great thing to have. But when you marry that, it's kind of the same argument I make. Like, Arthur Smith wasn't a great offensive coordinator in Tennessee just because he had Derrick Henry. Like, right. He did things through the air that complemented what Derrick Henry did on the ground. It complemented that greatness, and that's what put the entire offense over the top. When Baker Mayfield was playing well with Cleveland, like, it helped put them over the top. It helped put them into the playoffs. It helped them beat the Steelers in the playoffs. Now, when you think about when they've not been great, when it's been Jameis Winston or it's been Deshaun Watson, it's been quarterbacks who are not efficient. So I do wonder about like how well Dylan Gabriel, despite some of those flaws that you talk about, like being too short and not having this great arm, like how well can he execute? But it also does, to your point, really, really matter a lot more if they're able to run the ball and when they're able to run the ball. And they've been able to do that with Quinshon Judkins, who was probably one of my favorite running backs coming out of an impressive rookie class of running backs.
Me too. And I think he's even better than I expected.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because I think a lot of people liked Henderson better than Judkins, but I know the Steelers loved both guys, and I think they liked Judkins more.
Really?
Probably
from the size perspective.
What I do know, I just know that when I talked with one Steeler higher up at the combine, and they had the meeting with both of those guys at the combine, they were like, "We love both of those guys."
Really?
Like that was like the conversation I had. So like I know that they liked both. So it did not surprise me when I heard Mike Tomlin say a lot of glowing things about Judkins in his Tuesday press conference.
Gotcha. He's a handful. He gets a lot of yards after first contact, tough tackle breaker, runs away from you, balanced, explosive. He's real impressive. And we've kind of hinted at this, but I mean, I think what they're doing now as they prepare for the future is this defense should keep us in games enough that we can keep handing this dude the ball over and over. And I thought it was pretty telling in Gabriel's first start that they became a very tight end centric passing attack. They didn't throw the receivers hardly at all. It was all Fannin and Njoku, and Stefanski's done a good job of scheming those guys up every year he's been around, quick hitters, layups, yards after catch. And that's how they're going to play with this very young team right now.
I mean, they lead the league in 12 personnel. Half the time they're in 12 personnel. So the
tight ends on the field on Sunday.
It's very, very funny. Like I think, some people still think when you think about the Steelers or the Browns or anybody else like that, just like to use a lot of tight ends. This is the direction of the NFL, guys. Like this is where we're going.
Yes. 12 personnel's been up every year.
Yes.
Across the league. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been up. It was up last year and it's been up again this year. Even for teams like the Colts, who their 12 personnel is about the same that it was. Their 11 personnel is a lot less, and their 13 personnel went through the roof.
Did it?
The Colts lead the league in 13 personnel at like 13%.
Wow.
It's
crazy. They drafted a tight end in the first round.
Right.
With this in mind, obviously.
Right. But that just goes to show. I mean, like you look at the teams that they are collecting tight ends now. That's just what they want to do. Defenses got smaller and faster, and you run out of a lot of nickels. So offenses are starting to counterpunch. They're running a lot more gap scheme stuff. They're running with bigger personnel groups. It's not an accident. And so
tight ends are cheap. You don't pay them a lot. Right.
Yeah. I mean, think about what the Steelers have invested in Pat Freiermuth and Johnny Smith, and really neither of those contracts are like breaking the bank.
Right. And one note I just want to make to our listeners too. Yes, they play with a lot of tight ends in Cleveland. The tight ends will be on the field a lot, but they don't have what's becoming more and more in vogue too is the Washington hammer inline blocker guys. I mean, their tight ends are they're like Smith and Freiermuth.
Yeah. So I guess my question to flip this back to the offensive side for the Steelers before we kind of get into the rookies to watch out for, or just the number of rookies for the Browns. Since the Browns like to run out of their base quite a bit and the Steelers like to run with a lot of tight ends.
Yeah.
Should we expect to see the jumbo set again with Spencer Anderson as the extra offensive lineman and with Darnell Washington, or even if it's not Darnell, it's Pat Freiermuth, Johnny Smith, whatever, that they're just running with a lot of tight ends again?
I 1,000% expect it. Maybe not to the same snap count, but the other thing is you don't have Calvin Austin. Who's that number 2 receiver? It's definitely a downgrade. I did a DVE show with Mike Pursuta last night, and by no means do we think Austin's better than Ramsey, but at that point it was pretty up in the air if those guys were going to play. And we said for this particular game, I think I'd rather have Austin than Ramsey.
Yeah, no, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the thing that Ramsey gives you, if you're able to play out of like big nickel or something like that, is that you can afford to stick Jalen Ramsey on a tight end, which sounds kind of funny,
Right.
but how many safeties or linebackers can really cover David Njoku, like, or even Harold Fannon's like a different kind of handful than Njoku is. So I just think it's interesting because like sometimes with defenses that where it's very obvious that the defense likes to operate out of its base, like does the offense go the other way? Does the offense try to then run out of more 11 personnel and try to force them to play more out of nickel? Like,
I don't think the Steelers do that this week at all.
I don't think so
the
either.
Receiver position.
But I just wonder if we'll see more instead of the Spencer Anderson, Darnell Washington, like 12 personnel type. If we start to see a lot of the Pat Freiermuth, Jonnu Smith 12 personnel, not because they just want to run the ball like crazy, because obviously if you want to run the ball, it'd make more sense to put Spencer Anderson and Darnell Washington out there. But it's almost like when you put Pat Freiermuth and Jonnu Smith out there together, it's almost like, not quite, but it's like a pseudo 11 personnel type.
Yeah.
Because Jonnu's especially out of the slot, is he's a big slot, like you just said. So I wonder if like that's one way that they feel like they can attack the Cleveland defense to make them not want to play bully ball all day long.
To play devil's advocate, though, those guys don't help you against Myles Garrett.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like one thing I've been throwing out there this week is maybe you trot out Washington and Anderson a lot, but you use them to max protect and protect, either the short passing, you use them in protection against Garrett as opposed to running against the best run defense in the league. And, some people have said like, well, maybe you put Washington on one side and Anderson on the other because you don't know which side Garrett's coming from. And I'm like, yeah, that maybe you'll see more of that, but you're allowed to motion the guy over to Garrett's side. You know what I mean? That's allowed.
But I think the one other part of this that can help neutralize Myles Garrett, or I will say neutralize, but at least limit him and limit his impact, is just get rid of the ball quickly. I mean, it's not like Aaron Rodgers can't do that. I mean, he's leading the league right now in terms of like quickest.
We know that's going to happen no matter what.
I mean, but that's what I'm saying. Like, especially if the Browns do give up, quite a bit in the quick game, and Aaron Rodgers is getting rid of the ball very, very fast. One of the best ways to it would neutralize Myles Garrett is if he can never get back there to get Aaron Rodgers, because Rodgers already got rid of the ball.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to worry about double teaming him. You don't have to worry about, you can afford to chip him, but you don't have to worry about double. You don't have to worry about attaching Darnell Washington or Spencer Anderson to Broderick Jones' shoulder. I think the one thing that the Steelers need to do in this game is to not have just one solution. They need to have multiple solutions. They need to find different ways. Sometimes it can be with the jumbo set, but sometimes it can also be, let's run out of our lighter 12 personnel and start to really get Pat Freiermuth and Jonnu Smith more involved. I think that they have to find different ways to do it. And Mark asks a question, I guess this would go in terms of like how you would deal with Calvin Austin being out, is would they elevate a wide receiver from the practice squad? Calvin Austin has been ruled out of the game, so you are going to be down a receiver.
I don't even know who that would be.
Keyshawn Williams would be the first guy to come to mind.
Okay.
I mean, that would be the first. I think it would be, and I think the main reason why is because he can return punts.
Yeah, I think I would just roll with Metcalf, Miller, Skoranek, and Wilson, and probably not play much 11 at all.
I don't think they're going to play a lot of 11, but I think like you have to think from the perspective of, okay, Scotty's most likely going to be your punt returner, but what if Scotty goes down? Who's going to return punts?
Yeah, I think that. Right.
And so maybe Keyshawn Williams is that guy. It's not going to be Dante Kent because Kent is still on IR. So when you look at everybody else who can possibly return punts, I don't know if I want Roman Wilson back there.
Ramsey?
The guy's coming off. You could just do nothing but call fair catches, but he's coming off a hamstring injury. True. He's officially questionable for the game.
We did get some good news today that at least he practiced.
Fully. He fully practiced, and I can't delve into what I saw because we can't talk about what we saw in practice without at this point, I'll be more surprised if he doesn't play, to be
Great,
completely
great.
honest.
Yeah.
I just, with what my eyes are telling me, I'm like, I think this dude could play. Like I can't go into details on what I'm
that's
seeing,
enough.
but yeah. All right. So really quick, these Browns rookies, man, who stands it? Because we've talked about Judkins, we talked about Gabriel, talked a little bit about Harold Fannin. Other side of the ball, the linebacker is
awesome.
leading the league in or not the league, but leading the team in tackles. He has really made up for the loss of JOK in the middle of that defense.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. So we kind of hinted at this. On draft day, they make the trade with Hunter, for the Hunter trade, and they gain more draft capital. And before that trade, they even had the most draft capital of any team in the league going into that before the trade, after having the least for 3 years in a row or whatever after the Watson deal. I mean, they've done nothing in the draft for 3 years. So they make the trade, and you mentioned that you were critical of them, and I was incredibly critical of them for only one reason. Is they didn't draft any offensive linemen. I think that's insane to me. I mean, 4 or 5 of their top 6 guys on the O-line are free agents after this year, and they're older. And when this team was good is when Teller and Bitonio were at their best, and they were run the ball, and they had a great O-line. And you're trying to prepare a nest either for this quarterback or the next one or whatever. So that's why I killed their draft. I actually liked a lot of the players they took, Judkins, Schlesinger, etc. I'm not through. I'm still not big on Graham. He's played better than I expected, but I would have taken Membo there 100 out of 100 times. And I still have mixed feeling about Fannin. But to their credit, the guys they drafted are playing very well. I mean, each individual player, whether you like the philosophy of how, they drafted 2 running backs and 2 quarterbacks. I think that's insane instead of O linemen. But anyway, the players are good.
Yes, and yes, I would agree with that. And yes, I still think there's room to be critical of. You took Dylan Sampson after taking Quinshon Judkins. That didn't really make a lot of sense. You took He Who Shall Not Be Named. After taking Dylan Gabriel. It's becoming that part I get, but
the process I hated. The players are fine.
Because Mason Graham, like you said, he's helped at bare minimum. He has helped really fortify that defensive front. I mean, that defensive front is nasty.
Really good.
It's I mean, Myles Garrett, Shelby Harris, Mason Graham. I mean, it's really, really good.
Collins is playing really well. Malik Collins.
But Schlesinger, man, I'm telling you, nothing can be. I think that might be their most valuable, maybe outside of Judkins, might be their most valuable pickup right now, just because of
rookie linebackers get killed in this league, and he's doing the killing. I mean,
but and not just that, but they lost JOK for the season
and maybe career.
Like
he's got stuff in jeopardy.
But I'm just saying, like you lost a really important player at that position, and this rookie's just stepping up and just delivering, and that's not easy to do.
No, it's a great story. He's one of the better linebackers in the league already.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, so down to brass tacks here. Who you're picking to win this game? It's I don't think it's the spread. By the way, is 6.5 for the Steelers.
That's a lot. I mean, that's such a low over under. That's a big spread.
That's a lot. That for me, if you are going to be, and you should be downloading your FanDuel Sportsbook to place a bet, because they're always ahead on everything. Like, if you're going to be doing that, I would, my personal opinion, I'm not going to tell you exactly how to bet. My opinion, I am taking the Browns with the points there.
I'm expecting a close game. I think that number's too high. I have the Steelers winning 17-13.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be a battle, and I have great respect for the Browns defense is the biggest reason I have it being that close. Now, one thing we didn't mention that really favors the Steelers to me is Tomlin after a bye, this team coming from overseas without a bye on the road, rookie quarterback. Like, they have some things going against them,
Just so that people know, in case they haven't heard me harp on this a lot of times before, Mike Tomlin is 14-4 coming off of a bye week. He's phenomenal. in that
Not
regard.
an accident. He's not 2-1 or 3-1. He's 14-4. This is 18 years worth, you know?
Yeah. Now, for me, I am also picking the Steelers to win. I've not been good on my picks so far this year. I'm 1-3 on my picks. I'm still going with the Steelers, but if I'm betting like the spread, I am taking the points. No way. I'm going 19-16 Steelers. These type of games always have some sort of obscure score because of a blocked extra point or just a lot of field goals, or maybe there's a safety in the game or something along those lines.
Weird,
so I'm going 19-16 Steelers win this thing. I don't think
fine.
Yeah, I mean this might be a Chris Boswell game. Like
I would say they haven't asked Boz much since the Jets, and it might be time to cash that in.
You might get one touchdown, and then you might get Boswell kicking 4 field goals for you. Like that might be how you get to 19 points. So
and it also wouldn't blow me away if a lot of Steeler fans on Monday are, man, you only ran the ball for 80 yards. You know, this team, that's
you run for 80 yards against this defense, you're doing a dang good job because this defense is not even giving up 80 yards a game right now.
That's about as good as it gets, right?
They're giving up 75 yards a game on the ground right now. So if you get 80 yards, you did a good job. So
Steelers can't run the ball still. The zero line stinks. Like, no, nobody runs the ball. These guys.
I'm sorry, but if the Steelers come out of this game and they are able to, I'll put it this way: if the Steelers are able to cover the spread and win this game, if they win this game by a touchdown and they possess the ball well, they don't turn the ball, they're not careless with the ball, they get a couple of takeaways, like they play the same type of game that we saw against the Vikings. If they can do that against this defense, to me, it's a great game for the Steelers, especially if you can play that kind of a game and win. I think it's a great game. I think it's I won't say a statement game, but I think it's a game in which you can really look at and be like, listen, you just faced one of the best defenses in the NFL and I almost say had your way, but were able to do everything you wanted to do. Like that to me would be a great victory.
That's a big win.
Yeah.
I know we're up against it. We got to leave, but the last thing I just want to throw out, because we didn't really mention it, is I do think the defense will cause a lot of chaos, and the young quarterback will get hit, and their offensive tackles could be in for a real long day in Cleveland too.
The Steelers are getting Alex Highsmith back, which means that you could see a really strong rotation of TJ Watt, Highsmith, and Nick Herbig. Their
left tackle stinks.
Yeah. So
and they could be able to help Conklin. You know.
Yeah. It's.
I don't know who their help blockers are either. Fan and Njoku Judkins isn't going to get you real far.
Judkins was not the more accomplished pass protector of that Ohio State team last year.
Right.
That was definitely Henderson's calling card. All right. Well, we'll see how the game goes Sunday. We'll be back next week to break down that game shortly, and then we will find a day somehow, some way before the Bengals game, which is next Thursday, to try to break this down and preview that Bengals game. We'll figure out a time, we'll figure out a place, or whatever, but we'll figure something out. But it's gonna be a quick turnaround. But we'll be back next week to talk about this game and preview the next game. So until that time, we'll catch you on the Flippity Flip, and we'll see you later.